Good morning, everybody. Uh, sorry I'm running a few minutes late. Uh, but with the coronavirus and everything, my schedule is, I'm sure with a lot of you, is a little hectic right now, and things seem a little, time does not seem very real. So I'm still adjusting to waking up at my usual time, which is around this time. Um, so I'm going to go ahead and do a quick introduction and instructions to mindfulness and meditation. These are going to be pretty much the same thing each time prior to the hour marker when we formally start meditation. So if you ever need a refresher, you can check in 5 minutes prior to the hour marker. Um, if you have any questions along the way, you can ask them in the chat or leave a comment or something. I'll get to what I can before we can formally begin. So we can think of meditation and mindfulness as two different things. Meditation is a bigger and wider category of spiritual practices that include the practice of the technique of mindfulness. So, mindfulness is the practice of non judgmental awareness to whatever comes up and goes away in a given moment. That was popularized by, some of you might know, by John Kabat-Zinn. But regardless of like the scientific version of it, that is still a pretty accurate description of what what the practice is in the Buddhist context. It's paying attention very intentionally to what is happening right now, but without grasping, holding on to, or attaching to what happened, what happens, or what will happen. This practice involves focusing, noticing, and returning. Focusing on what is happening in the present moment, noticing where our attention is straight away from the stream of experience, and returning to what is happening right here and right now. So the point isn't to find, eternal calmness or relaxation or tranquility, but it's supposed to, the idea is to cultivate a steady core no matter what the experience is. So if you experience distress, you're not doing it wrong or anything like that. It's a natural response. And how that distress is managed is going to differ from person to person. So let's go over some quick instructions. Um, so in the Zen tradition, which is what I am lay ordained in, what I've trained in for a while, we place a lot of emphasis on posture. As you'll notice, I'm sitting in a formal position on a mat and cushion, and I don't have a formal webcam, so just using my laptop here. If you're interested in doing this, there are a few important points to remember. So sit comfortably and straight, your base toward the front half or third of your cushion. Your legs can be placed one in front of the other. This is the Burmese position, or if you are flexible, you can try the quarter, which is on your calf, half, which is on your thigh, or full, which you're going to bring the other foot up to the other thigh as well. If you're new, I suggest simply starting with the Burmese. So you're going to straighten your back by imagining a string like at the crown of your head being pulled up, but not tightly, just enough that it's straight. Pulling you up from the top of your head. With your hands, open up your right palm. Place your left palm inside, thumbs lightly touching, and rest in front of your navel. Your elbows should have a fist's distance away from your body. Neck straight, chin pulled in slightly. Your eyes are going to be half open with a soft gaze 45 degrees in front of you. You can close your eyes if you wish, but it's easier to stay awake and to be mindful if you're aware of what's going on in your visual field, even if it's not much. And of course, this is not the only way to do this. You also have the option of sitting what's called seiza. The only real difference is that you'll be kneeling. Everything else is the same. And if you're sitting in a chair, that's also perfectly acceptable. All body positions are the same. Keep your feet flat on the floor. So let's talk about what to do with the mind. When we talk about what to do with the mind, we're also going to be talking about what to do with the breath. So we'll be using the breath as an anchor for our mindfulness practice. There are many objects we can use, like sound, like touch, or sense of our like sense of physical sensations. Um, but we're going to use the breath because that one is readily available to us. It's always changing, and it connects us to our body immediately. Pay attention to your inhalations and your exhalations. Notice what it feels like throughout different parts of the body when you breathe in, and notice what it feels like through different parts of the body when you breathe out. So when you breathe in, notice, for example, what it feels like for the breath to come across the upper lip, what it feels like when it goes to the nasal passages, when it goes through the throat, what it feels like when it expands the chest and the diaphragm, how the shoulders rise and fall, how you expand vertically and horizontally. And notice what it feels like when it comes back out. Notice how every breath feels different, moment to moment. There's a different quality to the breath, moment to moment. There's a different quality to how it maneuvers through your body, moment to moment. You don't need to breathe in any special or particular way. Just breathe naturally. There's no need to force your breath to be any particular kind of way. You can even notice what it feels like in your body and in your mind. If you're trying to force your breath to be a particular kind of way, that's an example of trying to make the present moment something other than what it is. And that's what we're trying to work with here. So you can count up to 10, one for each completed cycle of inhalation and exhalation. If you lose count, go back to 1. There's no doing this right or wrong. The point is to be mindful, to notice when we are not being mindful, and to return to the practice of mindfulness moment to moment. If you become distracted or your mind wanders, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. Thoughts come and go. They're perfectly natural. They're like clouds floating across the sky or waves in an ocean. Trying to stop your thoughts from happening is like trying to stop time. You're not going to, you won't, and you're going to strain yourself trying to do so. So this practice is learning to be mindful of what, how, and when thoughts arise and go away, and to cultivate that steady core, and simply being present to, and slowly learning how to accept the patterns and processes that shape our perceptions. So I want to make a quick note about discomfort. I do think this is really important, and I don't see this often enough in mindfulness instructions, and I think it's really crucially important. If at any point you're uncomfortable, you are free to discontinue. Meditation and mindfulness can indeed bring up trauma or trauma adjacent experiences. So if you find during practice that you're feeling like hyper or hypo aroused, so if you're feeling super hyper vigilant or feeling super anxious, or you're totally unable to settle, or you're feeling numb or listless or foggy, then feel free to disengage and utilize whatever methods you have to stabilize yourself and to create a sense of safety in your environment. You can try, for example, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding technique. What are 5 things you can see, 4 things you can feel, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. The key point here in dealing with, difficult things, that really truly difficult things that arise that you are not in a place to handle during meditation, is to find your window of tolerance and to practice within that. Um, we can work with the boundaries, but this is not really the place to do that. I am not yet a trained clinician, but I'm working towards it. And that kind of thing is something that you work with in person. So discover and find what exactly the boundaries of your window of tolerance are and practice inside of that. Meditation practice can be emotionally cathartic, but it doesn't have to be re-traumatizing. That's really important to remember. It's one thing to push against something that's uncomfortable. It's another thing to re-traumatize. And we don't want to do that. So even people who are experienced are going to fall asleep. It's the morning. I admittedly have not been waking up super early. So you might see me falling asleep every now and then. Today, People are going to have a difficult time. They're going to wonder if they're doing it right. Their bodies are going to ache. Their bodies are going to have pain. They're going to feel bored. They're going to feel like it's inconsistent, all that kind of stuff. This is all normal. This is all okay. I can't tell you how many times I've been doing this for a while now. I still sit there going, well, this is not exactly the ideal meditation experience I wanted, so let's force it to be that way. And that's not the point either. The point is to notice when to, again, focus, and then notice when I've done that, and to come back to, okay, what's going on right here, right now? What's happening with the breath? What's happening just in general? Mindfulness meditation is simple, but it's not easy. So that's all the instructions. We'll be starting really soon in a couple minutes. Please remember that meditation will be silent with the exception of any ambient noises, by which I probably mean my cat. So if there are certain aids that help you be mindful, such as music or having a cup of water next to you or something like that, please free to utilize them on your end. I will ring my bell to signal the beginning and end of the session. Feel free to stay as short and as long as you like for the 30 minutes. There's my cat. I apologize for the cat ahead of time, but it's also good practice. Okay, I'll be starting the meditation now. It'll be 30 minutes. Then we will have a short reading, and we will end with the four great Bodhisattva vows chanted 3 times. Thanks for joining me. Now I will do a short reading from something I read the other day. And I think, again, I'll keep sticking with this for a while, considering our current situation. Pema Children's When Things Fall Apart. Hard advice for difficult times. Each day, we're given many opportunities to open up or shut down. The most precious opportunity presents itself when we come to the place where we think we can't handle whatever is happening. It's too much. It's gone too far. We feel bad about ourselves. There's no way we can manipulate the situation to make ourselves come out looking good. No matter how hard we try, it just won't work. Basically, life has just nailed us. Most of us do not take these situations as teachings. We automatically hate them. We run like crazy. We use all kinds of ways to escape. All addictions stem from this moment when we meet our edge and we just can't stand it. We feel we have to soften it, pad it with something. And we become addicted to whatever it is that seems to ease the pain. There are so many ways that have been dreamt up to entertain us away from the moment, soften its hard edge, deaden it so we don't have to feel the full impact of the pain that arises when we cannot manipulate the situation to make us come out looking fine. Meditation is an invitation to notice when we reach our limit and to not get carried away by hope and fear. Through meditation, we're able to see clearly what's going on with our thoughts and emotions, and we can also let them go. What's encouraging about meditation is that even if we shut down, we can no longer shut down in ignorance. We see very clearly that we're closing off. That in itself begins to illuminate the darkness of ignorance. We're able to see how we run and hide and keep ourselves busy so that we never have to let our hearts be penetrated. And we're also able to see how we could open and relax. So thank you for joining me this morning. I'm always looking for comments or thoughts about how the schedule feels, how the format feels. So if you have any thoughts or questions or concerns about that, please let me know. I think most of you know me via Facebook. So you can go ahead and let me know through that. We'll be closing with the 4 great Bodhisattva vows, which are listed below in the description. We'll be chanting them 3 times. Feel free to join me if you want. I can't hear you, so but I'll be doing them basically just a monotone chant. Beings are numberless, I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible, I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless, I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable, I vow to realize it. Beings are numberless, I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible, I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless, I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable, I vow to realize it. Beings are numberless, I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible, I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless, I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable, I vow to realize it. I and vow to realize it. Thank you all for joining me. Look forward to seeing you next time. Stay safe out there and stay home if you can. And if you can't, stay safe. Have a good one. See you Sunday.